Have you ever poured your heart into creating an offer that you know your ideal client needs, only to have the launch completely flop? You are not alone. In today's episode, I am breaking down the number one reason why great offers do not sell. And spoiler alert, it's not because your offer sucks, and it's not because people hate you. It's actually for a reason so simple to fix that it is going to blow your mind. And even better, I am going to give you 6 proven steps to speed up the buying process in this episode. I think you're going to love me for this one. Let's go. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. So right now, I am hosting a 4-week mastermind that I do every few months or so. It's called the Accelerator Mastermind. And in this, we deep dive because we have 4 weeks together and we can get a lot done, but we move really fast so that we can create fast results, hence the name Accelerator. So like I said, we're about a week in and I've already gotten to know the ladies on a pretty good level. And per usual, I am hearing about some of the most brilliant, thoughtful, intentional, value-driven offer ideas that should have flown off the online shelves, that should have been no-brainer, shut up, take my money, incredible launches. But instead, were unfortunately the result of really shitty launches. And you have to ask, how is this possible? Because these ladies that I'm working with, they're not new. They're not just like showing up, throwing up something that they created on ChatGPT and trying to sell it to people who don't know them from Adam. These ladies are experts in their respective fields, creating offers that their ideal clients actually want and need. So why aren't the offers selling? Now, typically, I find that there's a few reasons why this happens. There's so many factors that go into a launch going well. And I've shared this ad nauseum in this podcast. But typically, there's something about the marketing that's missing. Or maybe the price point isn't a match for the value or the brand positioning, or maybe the trust and the credibility isn't quite there yet in the brand. Those are the big 3. But weirdly enough, for the women that gave me the idea for this episode, none of those reasons that I gave you were applicable this time. The biggest reason why I found that these offers weren't selling for these women was that they weren't selling the offer enough. My client, she simply did not promote the offer long enough or at a high enough frequency, and therefore her launch was a flop. Now, usually we do this to ourselves for 1 or 2 reasons, because we've all done this. Usually the reasons why this tends to happen is, first and foremost, right out the gate, we didn't get the instant gratification that we went into the launch thinking we were going to get or thinking that we should get, right? We pour our hearts and our souls into these offers. And if you're doing it right, you really are being so intentional. And these offers kind of become our babies that we're birthing into the world. And we want the world to be like, that's the most gorgeous baby I've ever seen. Give me that baby. So when we don't get that, and we're met with crickets, or we're met with maybe a sale or 2, or no sales in some cases, then we start to look at that baby. We're like, is that baby ugly? Am I biased because I'm the mother? And then we, throw the baby out with the bathwater. I wonder if, where that came from. But That's typically what happens, right? We don't get the response. So we're like, okay, this baby sucks. This offer sucks. I suck. My ideas suck. Get rid of it. So we stop selling. And if you stop selling the thing, the momentum stops. The sales are going to stop. Duh. So that's one reason why we tend to do this and shoot ourselves in the foot when we're launching. And another reason is simply a lack of awareness of what is required for a customer to make a purchasing decision. Did you know there is a science to this? There is an actual number that we need to be hitting for a customer to make a decision. People need to hear and or see a message multiple times before deciding if said offer is for them. Why? Well, number one, we're distracted AF. Number two, we're busy. And number three, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell a lot of different things. So does that mean that we just don't try and sell our thing because other people are selling theirs? No, it means that we get better at selling. And we do the things that I'm going to give you in this episode. By now, you've probably heard about the marketing rule of 7, this classic marketing rule that says that somebody needs to hear or see a message around 7 times before it gets to their head that they want to make a purchase decision. However, when I was doing research for this episode, my mind was blown because with today's fast-paced, content-heavy world, this number is significantly higher. Some studies even suggest that as much as 20 plus touch points are required depending on the offer, industry, and audience. So if you're freaking out about this, I got you. I'm going to give you some tips at the end, but just a second, I want you to think back on your last couple launches, and I want you to consider or ask yourself the question, were there at least 20 touch points? And that's per person, not total. That is, one person sees at least 20 plus touch points. Are you doing that? I know I wasn't. Like, it was very clear that I personally wasn't doing that. And I teach these things. I just did not realize that the number was so high. That's so crazy, but it makes sense. Also, price and investment level will affect that number. So something lower ticket might make it to where you don't need so many touch points. And then something higher ticket might mean even more before somebody is ready to buy. When mentoring, I talk about this a lot because a lot of people don't even realize the basic rule of 7. And often I will share with them about a common occurrence that happens in many of my own launches, which is that most sales happen for me at the end of launch. Most sales. And you would think that the reason why this happens is because people are slackers and wait till last minute to buy, which for sure is the case sometimes. But I believe, especially after doing this research, that the bigger reason why launches sell more toward the end is because after about a week or two of promoting, you have finally hit the level of frequency where it is finally resonating with the people that are meant to buy. So if you have had a launch or offer flop lately, that may very well be the reason why. Yay. It's not you. It's not your offer. We love that. But before we live and breathe by some other person's statistic, which is just based on a bunch of other results, here's another angle that I want you to consider. At the same time, while I have had several examples of people, yes, buying toward the end of launch, I also have many examples of people buying early in launch, even day one, even the first time hearing about said offer. As a matter of fact, some of my best launches were the result of selling out a high ticket offer with limited spots in about 24 to 72 hours. So we're not talking about like low ticket offers here. Like, yeah, duh, people, again, People don't need a lot of information there sometimes. I'm talking offers over $1,000, sometimes well over $1,000 selling day one. I do this a lot. So what's up with that? Per usual, there will always be rules that are generally true and based on averages. And I love a good statistic. They can be very helpful, but I also love being the exception to the rule. And I know that you do too. So I see that stat and I respect it, but then I want us to ask a follow-up question to it. If there were a way to do it faster, better, stronger, what would that way look like? So when looking back on the hundreds of launches that I've done in my own business, there were many that flopped and many that went incredibly well, which basically means I either hit or exceeded my goal. When considering the difference between the two, I can basically sum it up for you with this. The launches that had the highest levels of trust, credibility, and attention with my targeted ideal client for that said offer went the best. So I'm going to say that one more time. The launches that had the highest levels of trust, credibility, and attention with the targeted ideal client for that particular offer went the best, sold the most, exceeded the goal, sold out, whatever the goal was. Here's another thing that a lot of people, I don't think, really consciously realize. Trust, credibility, and attention are not fixed things. They're not fixed commodities. There's a spectrum to each of them. So some seasons, you're holding attention like a pro. And others, we damn near forgot you existed. That's for all of us. Same thing with the trust and the credibility as well. So again, I found that my best launches had a good solid mix of each. And the good news about this is that now knowing that and realizing that we can reverse engineer and work backwards and create strategies that are designed to foster and grow each of those things. Yes. Yes. Good news. So yeah, if you're a basic B, you're going to need a solid 20 plus touch points for your offer to land. But if you're you and you keep listening to what I'm about to share with you, you're not going to need to do all that because I'm about to give you 6 proven steps to speed up the buying process. You ready? So, number 1, the first thing we want to do if we want to speed up the buying process is we want to make sure we are being consistently visible. We have a consistency of visibility before and during launch, at least. So when I say before, let's say, okay, so most launches, they're going to be somewhere between a week to 2 weeks, depending on that, just keeping as basic as possible. This is not a launch episode, so I'm not going to get into the weeds here. Let's say 1 to 2 weeks. So I want you spending, I don't know, if you really, really, really want to be safe, a month or 2 before launch, being consistently visible, meaning you are posting regularly and you are regularly putting yourself in front of your ideal client so that they keep seeing your message and they're getting value from you. This is going to begin increasing you on the spectrum of trust and credibility and attention. So that one hits all 3. The second thing that we're going to do to speed up the buying process is we want to create some level of omnipresence. Omnipresence simply means that wherever she looks, there you are, in the least creepy way possible, okay? But online, whether it's in email, whether it may, again, you don't have to be on every single platform, But you're not just building a home on Instagram and living there and not leaving. We don't want to do that. We're not putting all of our eggs in one basket anymore. That is so rookie and amateur. We don't do that. So maybe it's Instagram and YouTube. Maybe it's Instagram and TikTok. Maybe it's Threads, TikTok, and I don't know, Facebook or X or something. But you're hitting her on these multiple platforms. And I always say, and I coined the damn phrase, if you have their attention, you can have their sale. So omnipresence is major at holding that attention. Because and more people are doing this now, but what if she takes a break from Instagram? What if she's over Threads and overhearing people's opinions every 5 seconds? And she's like, I'm going to take a break. I realize that's one person, but again, more and more people are doing this lately. So if you're building one home and living there and you're never leaving and she's not in the neighborhood anymore, she's paying attention to somebody else. And guess who's going to get the sale? Somebody else. The third thing we want to do to speed up the buying process is we want to be intentional on positioning ourselves as an authority, thought leader, and expert in our industries. This is major. We're not just trying to be the business bestie. We're not just trying to there's a huge difference in giving an opinion on something and giving a thoughtful response based on your expertise and experience. Night and day difference. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody. That does not make you special. That does not make you elevated to a place of authority. We want to elevate that opinion from something that everybody else has to something that is thoughtful, that is based on your wisdom and your expertise as an authority in a space. Huge, huge difference between the value of both of those things and the energy of both of those things. And I want this to be a filter now for the content that you make. I want you to look at everything you put out, whether it's an email, a reel, a story, or a thread, or TikTok, or X. What do we call X? X's? You used to call them tweets. Whatever, doesn't matter. No matter what it is that you're creating, I want you to look at it through the lens of, is this me just bitching? Is this me just adding to the noise of the space? Is this me just throwing out an opinion because I am in love with my own voice and I want to be heard? Or is this me taking a beat and, again, really being intentional about what it is that I'm sharing to the world? I'm not sharing this just to share it because I need to hit a metric on my social media content this week. I'm sharing it because I know that it's going to give you value, because I know it's going to help you to look at this thing in a different light based on my experience of it. I am sharing this because I know that it is going to save you time, money, and effort because I've lived it and because I'm giving you this value. Major difference. Major difference. Too many people show up just because they need to hit a number, or they just like showing up, but they're not being thoughtful in the way that they're doing it. It makes all the difference. So we want to elevate to that position of authority, thought leader, and expert. That is going to majorly speed up the buying process. And then in the similar vein, the fourth thing that I want you to do to even further speed up the buying process is I want you to set yourself up for a win. This is where we're being super strategic and thoughtful in everything that we do, but especially in our content and the energy that we're putting online. So if you know that you are going to be launching something on a very specific topic at the end of the month, then I want you to warm up your audience based on what you're about to sell, leading up to it. Too many people talk about too many different things in their industry, which is fine. I do the same thing. There are a myriad of things that I can give value on and that I teach and that I help clients with. That part's fine. But if you are talking about, a list of things over here, and then boom, you're in launch, and all of a sudden you've switched the conversation, and this is the first time that your particular audience is hearing you specifically talk about this thing, and now you're trying to sell to them with this thing, there's going to be some dissonance there. There's going to be a little bit of resistance. You're going to need more touch points to get them to the other side. So set yourself up for a win, show up from a place of authority, and warm up that angle of the business that you know you're going to be selling to them prior to launch. I want you doing this before launch. That way, when you go into launch, they already know that you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, you're a boss, and they want to work with you. This is going to help hold the attention for sure, and also build that trust and credibility. The fifth thing that we want to do to speed up the buying process is we want to make sure that we are incorporating some form of social proof in our marketing, in not just our launches, but in our marketing in general. Now, I'm somebody that I'm not huge. I don't love chasing down clients and asking for testimonials. It's a pain in the butt. It's one of those things that it's nice to have, but I personally just don't love doing it. So this is something that you can hand off to a team member for sure. But this is also something that when you have it, you realize it's invaluable. It's so helpful to have. You don't need a ton of it, but to have a few thoughtful testimonials, case studies, proof of results in your content, it just further adds to that trust and credibility, even if it's just a screenshot. So something that I do is I collect this as I go. I have a folder in my phone where I am adding these in regularly. I'll add them to sales pages. We don't need a formal long form paragraph or video, but we have proof that you're good at what you do and you get results. So as you grow your business and the more people that you work with, these will increase. So don't freak out if you don't have a ton of these right now. But if you don't, it doesn't hurt to put out a simple ask. I currently am in the middle of redesigning my website, which I'm so excited about. I got a preview yesterday and it is so stupidly stunning. I know nobody really looks at websites anymore, but it's so good. I'm so excited. But one of the things that they asked me to get were testimonials. And I was kind of annoyed. I was like, oh God, I really don't want to do that, but okay. So what I did was I sent an email to my membership and my masterminds, and I just said, hey, I'm redesigning my website. If I have ever helped you in your business in any way, shape, or form, and you want to write me a tiny little blurb about it, it would mean the world to me. And I made a Google Doc for them, and I made it super simple, and I sent it out. And when I tell you the response that I got back, some of them made me cry, because we know we're doing good work. And we see the results in real time, but to hear the words reflected in such a way from clients that you care about how you have improved their life in whatever area you support them in, it just, it was so good for the soul. And I highly recommend. So that's something I personally will be doing more of, but it really does help. It's just that added layer. Testimonials, it's one of those things, they're not absolutely required to have a good launch or to put out good work, but they're like that spice in the recipe that gives that extra oomph. So if she needs an extra oomph to make a purchase, often our testimonials will be that thing. So you can start collecting those now. And then finally, the sixth way that we are going to speed up the buying process is we are going to be so ridiculously direct with our messaging, and we are going to use strong call to actions. No more coy marketing that it's not cool, it's not strategic, it's killing the momentum of the sales process. If you have something that is going to give value to an ideal client, realize that if that's the case, you are doing her a disservice by not telling her how to get said thing, right? If you're being coy and you're giving her all of these hoops to jump through, and you think attraction marketing means that you never add a call to action, or that you never give a link, or again, you make her walk through mazes to find you and to find the offer, you got it wrong. That's not attraction marketing. Let the people come to you. But then when they come to you, or when they come across the post, you say, hey, if you like this, if you are this very specific person who has this very specific problem, I have this very specific offer that will very specifically help you. Here is the exact way to get that thing. Make it easy for people to pay you. If people want to pay you, don't make it difficult. Then you're going to have a difficult time making money. So we're going to be very specific with our messaging. We're going to be very direct. We're not going to mince words. We're not going to try and appease this person over here and this person over here, or worry about isolating them if they are not meant for this specific offer. You can always make something for them later on if you want to. But if this message ain't for them, don't worry about them. Worry about her. What does she need to hear in this moment to come to the other side and realize that your offer is the solution to her problem or the transformation that she wants? This builds trust and credibility, I guess, but more so adds clarity and ease to payments, which I think we can understand how that will also help you increase the rate at which people buy from you. Now, the great thing about everything that I just shared with you, all 6 of those, is that you really should be doing all of those things anyway. As an online business owner, those should be part of your core strategy. So it's not like you're going out of your way with any of these, but now we're being super intentional with the consistency of them, because now we understand and have a really good reason why we need these things: to boost attention, to boost trust, and increase credibility, aka to speed up the buying process. That should be all of our goal. Okay? So, I hope this served you well. If it did, if this was helpful for you in any way, shape, or form, I would love it. And I would be so appreciative if you let us know on the YouTube video. I don't know if you know this, but we post all of these videos on YouTube. So if you like to watch things, you can find us there. If you show us some love, that would be amazing. If you want to drop us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, if you want to share on the gram and tag me in it, all of those things are incredibly helpful ways to support the show. And let me know what kind of content that you're loving so that I can make more of it for you. Okay. Thank you for listening. I love you, and I will see you here next week. Bye.